do that.
Things.
It just registered to me. Tom looks really good today.
Yeah.
There's a Packer shirt underneath it. So listen, I fulfilled it. All right.
It doesn't
I
cancel
spent
out, though.
$140 on this. And it does
Honestly,
not
purple and gold
work
better
it
than
well.
green and gold.
Because purple's a good. No, you shut your mouth.
Purple's
a
better.
great color, and the Vikings have ruined it.
Are any of you guys?
Yeah, I'm not live.
I was wondering. I'm like, are y'all?
Probably go
live?
public.
Did you not? I set mine to public.
I was.
I'm live.
I'm
Oh,
live.
Now we're on. Hey there.
Hey.
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 All right, guys, we have to do the whole intro all over again.
I just
Nah,
noticed
I mean,
Tom looks really good.
No, it doesn't. Purple's a good color, but the Vikings have ruined. We can never recapture the magic.
No.
I think
no.
he has
The
a Packers
Vikings-
shirt on underneath.
I do have a Packers shirt underneath because listen, I'm fulfilling at least one of my punishments. I ordered the Vikings Aaron Jones, and it doesn't even fit well.
I don't think that's a smart move, though, Tom. I think the curse of the Vikings is just going to rub off onto the Packers. I think that's a risk.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
so.
think that's a risk.
I don't
think
know
it-
because
I
I
see,
think it is.
I would think that, but now I'm wearing two Packers things because they're also Packers sunglasses. So I think just the 2v1. I think the good fortune has like a little
Interesting.
bit over.
I
the
mean,
forces of
let's
evil.
be real. God already is a Packers fan in general. Why do you have to rub it in their face any further, man? Come on.
You guys told me to buy this. All right, so
Yeah, to punish you.
correct. It just is really bad timing that the Minnesota Vikings, like everybody's just like, nope, we're done now. Dude, thank God Addison's like not seriously hurt because once that news hit after JJ McCarthy was out for the whole year, and then like Addison was carted off, I was like, dude, what is going on? Like this is like a legit curse. And the Vikings have had like a tragic offseason, of course, like off the field.
Yeah.
And like now, like on
yeah.
they dude, like they've been through it, man. Like it's been I can even have sympathy for that. Like it's been a rough going of things for the past 5 weeks.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we will be discussing today on this very much rehearsed clickbait episode. Who is the worst cursed team in the NFL? We already know JJ McCarthy out for the year. But are they the worst cursed team in the league? Who rivals them? What are we saying?
Scooter, that was a great presentation of that. That was like we're having a funeral time and just like, hey, things aren't going well for the Vikings, but maybe there's someone's life who's even worse, right? There's that optimism, Vikings fans. You could hold on that maybe someone's doing worse than you.
And that's someone we could immediately straight go to the Buffalo Bills with the news
Straight
of
go.
linebacker Matt Milano out pretty much for the season. They're eyeing potentially a comeback during the playoffs if the Bills can make it to the playoffs. Instant reaction when you guys saw that.
For me, go ahead.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, forget. I've been gone a while, guys.
Yeah, we've kind of been.
I just
a while.
spoke, so I didn't want to speak again.
Yeah, this is why we call it a very well organized show. It's brutal because Matt Milano was expected to be a big piece of the Bills defense. They've had a lot of cuts due to the salary cap, and not to mention as well, they lost Matt Milano last year due to another severe injury, not the bicep, but still, I mean, he apparently got it while tackling a tackling dummy, which is even more cursed.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I don't mean to laugh, but dang.
It's
I
brutal.
didn't know that.
I feel like this
usually-
Bills.
Accident. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Obviously,
I heard
I'm
that
learning
on
it
Twitter,
now.
and I'm like, what?
That sucks.
Just real quick, like just asking because like the Bills have had like this tragedy on defense. Like I'm not even talking about like tomorrow. I mean, just like every year it feels like they are losing guys constantly. I know like Trey White's not there anymore. Do we think if we put that tackling dummy at nose tackle, do you think it makes the defense better?
Just injures opposing players.
Not even injured, just like get in the way.
He could probably play left tackle or right tackle for the
Yes.
Giants for sure.
Yeah.
a trade.
My thing is with this Bills team, they seem to be very resilient. You know, you look at the last 3 or 4 years, they've overcome these, like the DeMar Hamlin thing. And then last year, they were pretty much done. Like week 14, they were almost mathematically eliminated. And then they just come back and then they lose again in heartbreaking fashion in the playoffs. That's what I think will happen. They will overcome this temporary setback and they will make it to maybe even the AFC Championship game just to take have just rip out all of their fans' hearts like they do every year in terms of cursing. They are a very cursed team.
See, I don't even know if they do all that. Like, I think they make it to the playoffs and get one and done, and that's pretty much it. Right? They are the AFC equivalent of the Dallas Cowboys, but for some reason, they get less flack.
It's the Dak versus Josh things. Ever since
You're
last
really doing
offseason,
that.
really, Scooter's been holding on to that. He's just like,
I
Dak
really am.
is better than he. I
He
get
is.
it.
Still,
Statistically speaking,
I can
But
fix
Matt
that for
Milano-
you, Scooter.
a huge loss for the Buffalo Bills. Actually, he went to my high school, Matt Milano. So please, he'll get better, Matt. And maybe you will be able to come back for the playoffs. Someone who will not be making the playoffs is the Patriots this year. They just traded their best player, arguably. What are your guys' thoughts immediately on this trade? How does this affect the Falcons? Are they contenders now?
My question with the Falcons, is he going to stay healthy? Remember, this guy had a major injury. He was out for 13 games last year and is also 32 years old. The question with the Falcons, they did need an edge rusher badly. I still think they should have drafted one, either Dallas Turner or Leatu Latu. But they chose to slam their panics in the car door, and this is what happens. But I will say, I mean, New England, their defensive line's been gutted. Christian Barmore's out for the year. That's a brutal injury. Now you have Judon gone. Christian Gonzalez is coming back from major injury. So they're deep in the tank, and they realized Matthew Judon wasn't going to do much considering how bad they are. So if they can get a day 2 pick, which might be in the mid-3rd round, I mean, why would you complain?
I think it's like they're admitting defeat already, the Patriots. What doesn't make sense about, like, I'm not worried about Judon's injury last year. Also a bicep, right? That's what Milano just suffered. So if I'm Atlanta, I do not let Judon mess with any tackling dummies right now once he gets to Atlanta. But the Patriots have the money. They have the second most cap space this year. They have the most cap space next year. So even if you have some mild concerns, I think it's silly to let a veteran player who is the best at his position on their defense on the edge, a position where they didn't get a lot of production out. Judon had 4 sacks last year through 4 games, and their leading sack dude last year was Barmore with 8.5. So he's not playing. So, like, they now become the Atlanta Falcons, where you're like, who's their edge rusher going to be? And I know Judon's 32, but sometimes it's nice just to have a veteran presence, a guy who's done it at a high level for a long time. Even if you don't think you're going to win this year, I would have wanted Judon on my roster. And this kind of goes to what, like, Patriots fans have sort of been complaining about is Robert Kraft's son. Was it Jonathan Kraft? Like, I don't think they trust him, right? They're like, he is going to ruin our organization. And I think maybe Patriots fans are right.
Well, let me ask you guys this question. Would you have given up a 3rd round pick for Judon to come to your team? 3rd round pick. Are you doing it?
Sure.
Yeah, it's a lot better than a 5th round pick, honestly, in terms of value, unlike Amari Cooper, what the Cowboys got, right?
Why are we bringing him up?
Hey. I mean, if you're looking at the rumors, Amari Cooper might be on the move again.
Why?
But that is
I just
I enjoy
that up.
Okay.
My thing with the Patriots is that, they're starting over with Drake May, and there's this huge vacuum. There's no more Belichick. They don't know what they have in May yet. So they want to know what kind of they want to kind of assemble their own pieces around this rebuild. And I think they're just trying to clean house. And yeah, it brings up a good point. They've been spoiled in terms of they've always made operationally good. They were the Howie Rosemans of the NFL for 20 years, and now they're trying to figure things out again. I don't hate the move. Get value for Judon while you can. He's obviously doesn't want to be there, and he doesn't want to take a bunch of L's on the Patriots team. So pretty good move. On the flip side, I'm hearing a lot of optimism for the Falcons. They just signed Justin Simmons to a 1-year deal. It looks like they're definitely the NFC South favorite right now, which is insane to say, thinking about them a year ago, with Desmond Ridder starting. Like, it's crazy. But that being said, another cursed franchise. And they'll probably finish, 7 wins, 7-10. That'll probably happen.
You never know, man. You never know.
No,
And probably
Simmons
still win the
huge.
division somehow.
Bates and Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Bates was great for them too last year.
So my question for you guys is, will we see the Patriots great again in our lifetimes?
You never know,
No.
man. I mean, we said the Chiefs were never going to win a Super Bowl in our lifetime. Look what happened there. I mean,
Who
no one
said that?
said the Eagles were going to win a Super Bowl.
I mean, I did say
I never thought I would see Michigan win a natty, and that
Yeah.
happened like pretty quickly,
Mhm.
So yeah,
Here's a
I'm sure
question,
it'll
man.
happen.
'Cause
Anything's possible, man. Just like
it's in
Kevin
the-
Garnett.
it's in the thumbnail for the most cursed franchises. We've got the Browns in there, the Vikings, the Bills, and the Lions. Which one of those teams wins a Super Bowl first?
what are
It's
they
not the
again?
Browns right
oh,
now. Not the
I would
Browns.
say the Bills, because they're getting that new stadium and they're about to go through some ridiculous all-in push with massive cap circumvent, just kind of like how the Rams did it. And they are going to go because they want it out of that group. They want it bad. They want it worse than any. And then that's why I think they'll get at least to a Super Bowl. Maybe not win one, but man, do they want it?
Out of those
What's-
teams,
It's between the
I think
Bills
it's
and
the
Lions, right?
I think it's the Lions. I think Jared Goff is a good quarterback. Like, let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Just made a ton of money. He's a good quarterback. I don't think Jared Goff is an elite quarterback, and there's no disrespect or anything like that. But I don't think he's like the upper echelon, top 3 quarterbacks.
He's no Dak. That's what you're saying.
Anyway, they
He's definitely no Dak.
almost went to the Super Bowl last year, and I think that it would have been possible for them to beat the Chiefs. I know there's no Travis Kelce in the beginning, all that great stuff. It was possible. That team, that offensive line is so good that you can put people behind, and it's not going to matter. Gibbs just got injured. They have Montgomery. That defense is getting better. So I think just the way that they have run themselves the past few years, and this is what I talked about years ago when Penei Sewell fell into their lap, and they just really dedicated to building the trenches. That's how you build a really good football team. And now you have Jared Goff behind this great line, who's going to look even better behind this great line. Their window is now. So, and then if they get another quarterback who eventually gets better than Goff, they're even better position.
I would say their window's even larger because of the way Jared Goff plays the position.
Sure.
Very standard pocket dude. He should have. How old is Goff? He should have 10 years left.
It's 29, 30.
Is he that young? Is he 29?
Well, he's drafted
Oh,
in
he is
2016.
29.
He's 29.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
9-10 years left.
Listen, we could talk about all these teams and who's most cursed, who's not cursed. But the answer to who the most cursed team is clearly the Buffalo Bills. Okay. What other
4
franchise
Super Bowls is
has
rough.
gone to 4 Super Bowls
That's rough.
back to back to back to back and lost all 4 of them? I would rather have not even gone to any Super Bowl than to lose back to back to back to back.
Could
I don't
you
even think
imagine that
in
happened
any
today?
other sport that's happened for a team to make it 4 championships and lose 4 times a row with all the injury stuff happening, with a quarterback that's almost as good as Dak, and they still cannot get it done. So for me, I'm going Bills. There's a lot of teams that have never even been to the Super Bowl,
Sure.
It's still the Bills though. Four times.
times is rough.
Like, come on.
Well, I mean, the Vikings did it 4 times in 5 years, like
No,
with
that's
Fran
right.
It's not back to
Tarkenton.
back to back.
Like that's still pretty bad.
Close.
That's like awful. Like that's really bad. I have to throw in a dark horse here, even though they did win a championship. The Jets are a very cursed team.
Yeah.
Not just, I mean, yes, they did win one, which was over 50 years ago. Like full grown generations have happened. Like multiple generations have occurred on this planet the last time the Jets won. It's not just that, it's the things that have happened to them and the things that they have done that just really, if you're a fan of the Jets, you have to wonder if God is out for you. You have to just really wonder if you like, not only did you pick the Jets, like the things that just happened, it's like, it's bad for the Jets. That's my dark horse, but I have a different answer when it's my turn.
Well, Perna, real quick, didn't the Broncos went to 4 Super Bowls before Elway won?
Yeah, Elway took him to 3. They went 1 with Craig Morton, 77, I think. Yes, they were I know this because there was this stupid stat on a freaking trading card or something that my friend used to love to rub in my face. It was like, which teams have been to the Super Bowl the most and never won? And it was the Bills, the Broncos, and the Vikings.
Yeah.
I was always like, hey, at least I respect those other teams a little bit because we're all in the same boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then
because,
LA.
The Browns have to be up there too. I mean, just
that was going to be my pick.
Like
I
that's
mean, those teams at least made the Super Bowl. The Browns have lost in so many agonizing ways. Red Right 88, the drive, the fumble, losing the team, moving them at the last possible moment, years of failure, watching Baltimore win 2 Super Bowls with the team that you should have had. Yep. Not only mentioning watching Art Modell left Lombardi, that was a brutal moment as well. And then getting your team back and not only losing and becoming one of the most inept franchises in 15, 20 years. And it just goes on and on. Endless losing, 10-6 record, not making the playoffs. You have some staph infections. You signed with Charles Bentley, and then he suffers a grinding injury on the first play in training camp. You have issues of 0-16, 1-15, Baker Mayfield, the quarterback carousel. It's just on and on for Cleveland, man.
It's pretty bad for Cleveland. It's definitely pretty bad for
I would say that's
no bias. But yeah,
that's more painful though
right.
that the Ravens have won 2 Super Bowls since.
Yeah, it's a great perspective too. It's like the team that was supposed to be yours. Like,
yeah, those were some good Browns teams though. Like the team that beat or that Elway vanquished those were really good teams. They had Bernie Kosar, they had Ernest Biner. I mean, that fumble was.
I bet they wish they didn't have Ernest Biner.
Yeah, but he was a great running back.
He was really good.
Moment. He was brilliant. Yeah, and then it's just it was so rough.
Thank you, Cleveland.
The Browns and then the Re-Browns are bad. They're just awful to watch.
This cassette tape doesn't exist without you, Cleveland.
Here's something I think we're all forgetting though, is the Falcons. Like they're on the up and up now, but
I'm gonna have to interrupt. That was my answer.
Go ahead.
That is my team
Falcons in contention.
Oh, gosh, because there's no greater curse. Okay, I will say this. I'll make a reference to dating, right? Like, it's one thing to get rejected by a girl up front, or even dating someone for a couple months, and then she breaks it off, and you get closure, right? The Falcons were this close to winning a Super Bowl. Like a couple levers get pulled correctly, and they have a huge Home Depot sized ring on their fingers, and it didn't happen. And every Falcons fan has got to rue that day. So it's like having a wonderful relationship and then being ghosted in the middle of it, like with no clue, no closure. They will never get over that loss. It will hurt forever until they hoist a Lombardi. That is the most cursed, because they had great teams in the 80s. They made a Super Bowl. Eugene Robinson is out hiring prostitutes the night before the Super Bowl. They end up losing to who? The Broncos, right? It's just they have had such a perpetual existence of pain in their entire Freaking,
Never
and the
won.
one time that they break through and make it, that happens to them. So it's
To be
awful if you're
fair
a Falcons
to the
fan.
Falcons,
Mhm.
the Cowboys won 3 Super Bowls where they spent plenty of time with prostitutes all week leading up to the Super Bowl.
But they didn't get caught.
Very well
Neither
documented.
confirm nor deny.
So I don't
Mhm.
know whether that affects the outcome. Just that one little caveat.
Okay, that's fair.
Just wait till
That's
our
fair.
Cowboys
Lawrence
episode comes
Lawrence
out.
Taylor was a genius. He would send prostitutes to the opposing running back's hotel room and instruct them to wear him out. And then I told that story to Justin Blaylock, and he was like, "You couldn't." He's like, he couldn't send it to the right guard. Anyways, Falcons. I feel for you because I don't know what that's like. I've seen my team win 4 Super Bowls in my lifetime. It's not as bad as
Or
That's crazy.
Yeah. because I'm old. Yes, I was 10 when the Giants won their first.
All right, hold
Wow.
on. If we're approaching it this way, if the league ended today, who's the most cursed franchise? So that means there's never gonna be another Super Bowl. They're never gonna win another one.
Yeah.
Like, so that's it.
Cowboys.
No, get out of here. There's-
Wasted potential is the
Yeah.
worst thing. See, now we're
Jordan,
getting
come on.
into
Brother, you want wasted potential? Look at the Chargers. You know how many years they've had winning records and then poo the bed?
You're right. You are right. But they're not going 12-5
God.
3 seasons in a row.
they
But
might.
they
They're
went,
like a little
dude,
bit below.
they went
They do
like
4
11.
seasons in a
They had the
row.
best offense, the best defense in football, and their special teams were so bad they missed the playoffs. We're talking about Marlon McCree. We're talking about Nate Keating missing field goals. We're talking about being mauled in the only Super Bowl chance you get.
talking about
Phillip Rivers wasting his career. Justin Herbert, pain.
That's what I say.
Every
Chargers,
time.
like, if it ended today, Chargers are in
they got a good
contention.
case.
Yeah, you know, I
Chargers
can't
got a
complain
good
that much.
case.
Yes,
We are
absolutely.
cursed with
Better
Jerry
Super Bowls.
Jones. For better or for worse, the Cowboys are cursed with Jerry Jones. But we've won. You know, we've had our success. It's been a while. Okay,
Yeah.
but at least we've got to experience, get to talk some trash, albeit a couple decades ago. But the point is, we did get to do that though at one point.
Huge
done.
get for Atlanta. I think it comes down to the Browns and the Lions. Now,
Yeah.
the Lions we're not really talking about because people are optimistic about the Lions for the first time in a very long time. Feels like they are possibly past the curse. And I know just saying that is dangerous, but historically speaking, their whole
Yeah, they do.
fate is based from a curse, right? Bobby Lane. So I don't know. I think it's between Detroit and Cleveland. They're also the only 2 teams with those 0-16 seasons. It's very different too. Cleveland, it feels like it was always their fault that they were bad from like the top down. It was like the Lions were trying and they could just never get it right. So probably Cleveland more cursed, but the Lions longer streak of being bad, I guess. I don't
Folks
know.
in the chat are saying
Yeah, they-
Cardinals too. The Cardinals.
Their
what?
playoff ineptitude.
Cardinals, they're
That's
just
a good
bad.
one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's honestly it's
Gosh.
the Steelers that like I don't think there will be a Cardinals fan that'll ever forgive the Steelers. for that
No,
Super
I
Bowl.
mean, and they pretty much took the entire Steelers teams and they still didn't win.
Ugh.
Especially in late 90s,
Can't-
early
and
2000s.
Wisenhunt.
Oof.
Yeah. Wasn't he a
It's hard.
Steelers guy, Wisenhunt?
Yeah, he was an offensive coordinator.
Yep. I have a question for you. This is a little tangent. Is like, does Detroit have to go like? Remember when Tampa they got rid of Tony Dungy and they brought in John Gruden and they won a Super Bowl? Do you see something like that happening with the Lions? Because they have all the talent in the world. And I said this last year. I was like, Dan Campbell is going to cost them big time at some point because he does not change. He does not look at the situation and be like, we're not going to go for it on 4th. Like, is there going to have to be a time when an adult has to step into that room and be like, we need a real coach to stop gambling away the Super Bowl champs, the chances of this
That's a
or am I being
stinky
crazy?
take.
That's a Skip Bayless take right
Yeah,
Think
there.
that's
so?
a stinky
You think
one,
so?
bro.
I told you last year. I was like, Dan Campbell will coach them into a situation.
The only
He
reason they
did-
were
he
there
did
was
call
because
it.
of Dan Campbell.
Did he not?
Like,
Did he not?
did
Did he
call
not
it.
gamble in the NFC Championship
yeah,
game and that
sure.
and it
I
turned
mean-
up craps and that cost them a trip? Like you can mathematically look back to multiple moments where had he not made those decisions, they would have won by like 3 points. So I'm just saying, is there going to have to be a time where they're like, oh, we need to bring in a veteran that just pulls the right levers?
You do
and
that, and
plays
then
it
you'll have a
close.
civil war, and Dan Campbell leaves. Do you want to risk that?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, well, he would be fired. Like, I'm just saying, like, just a completely different coach.
I think it's an easy fix. You just
What
have
is it?
somebody in there who becomes your grit expert.
Fair.
That's your analytics guy. Okay. It's just an analytics nerd, but you give him title of grit expert, and he just tells Dan to go for it when the play has the most grit. And if you need to kick a field goal, that guy just convinces Dan the grit move is field goal. Easy.
He needs like one of those
Easy.
get back guys on the side.
Field goal grit level at 12,
Yes.
Dan. Kick the field goal.
I think that would do it. It's just rebranding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
I'm
that.
marketing.
That's fair. I'm just saying, like, I wonder if they have to do that. If they have to
But I think like
'Cause-
implying adult in the room, like again, it's more just that whole culture. I think is built off Dan Campbell right now. Like you watch Hard Knocks and like you just see the culture that's building. And I know like culture is I think it's like a legit tangible thing in this case because even Jamal Williams, like as a former Packer, like went to the Lions and you could see his like attitude change, just be like, no, like adopt this culture of like, we're always losing. Like, you know, it's the same old Lions and like, no, like we're going to punch him in the mouth. And again, like building through the trenches, they have done that. So yeah, I agree. Like, can Dan Campbell be less risky? Sure. But I don't think it is going to inhibit his coaching to the point. Like, if we're talking about that, then like, are we talking about Shanahan blowing 10-point leads in the Super Bowl? Like, are we talking about like him not winning one? Like, does there need to be an adult there for that? I don't know. I just feel like it's not a personality thing that's necessarily negative because that's what the whole team is built around right now.
no, and
It's
I
so
respect that as
interesting.
go
Go
ahead.
on, Fo.
No, I respect that as a take because they wouldn't get as far as they were if
Yeah.
Campbell wasn't a motivator. But again, it's like those are two like Bill Belichick was also a great motivator, but he also was an X's and O's guys to the court. Like here, every decision was made. You know, we're gonna go for it.
Was he?
Like-
or were people just scared of Belichick?
Like,
They're just scared.
like him and Brady, just like watching them go back and forth. But I mean, that's also why he hires former players, right? Like that's why so much of their staff is based off of former players that know those positions. So I think like it does introduce, I don't want to say like a realness, but right, it's like that old, like really crappy take, like unless you played football, you can't talk about football. But I do think that there is a different level of experience from playing the game and then coming in as a coach than someone maybe who hasn't played before. I'm not saying one's necessarily better or worse. I'm just saying that there is, I think, a difference. And I think you could see that right now with this Lions team.
And I'm not as sold on the Lions as all of you guys are. I think
I
they
mean,
did
they-
have
they-
a
they are
really
good.
great year last year,
The Lions team.
but I don't really know if that's indicative of what's going to happen this season. I don't think they have the same record or a better record than they did last year. I think they will drop down a little bit, in my opinion. That's what I'm guessing. But we've been talking about the most cursed franchise so far. Let's change it up a little bit. And what is the most blessed franchise to exist other than Kansas City, which would be the easy go-to right
Why
now.
would you bless
Why?
Kansas City? They had 50 years of failure.
Yeah.
But now they're on the road to greatness.
That's a recency bias, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
bro,
It's
the-
very
like, the-
recency
The
bias.
Patriots, it's like their run was,
It was
in-
full of
and there was
BS.
gaps in between, but like that run is insane. And like we could go back to like Steelers, Cowboys, like there's even like there's historic teams that you can put in there, but like to do it also like today in like somewhat the modern era, like damn, like you gotta like as we get farther away from it, I get less upset about it because it was just boring at the time to just watch them win. But like now that you're away, like yeah, like there's a level of that's really difficult to do.
I have
Thank
no
God
respect
for
for what
the-
the Patriots did to
That's
this
fair.
day.
That's fair. Yeah.
Same.
With all due
you just hate
respect.
on it.
With
Yeah.
all due respect.
I would say that the answer is the Las Vegas Raiders because Gardner Minshew is on their roster, and that just makes
That's
them
hot.
the most blessed team.
Chat,
And
let
that's
us
a
know.
base
Who do you
take
think
right
is the
there.
most blessed? Chat in the
I mean,
chat. Let us
Ooh,
know.
I think the Raiders are interesting because if you take away their early success, right? Raiders from like the 90s till now, they've been pretty cursed. They've been a cursed franchise. It's hard because they were like at the pinnacle for a while. They were good and they were the bad guys. Like it was like a 1-2 punch of, I don't know, people loving like everything that they stood for and they backed it up on the
Vikings.
field. But now, also, I might want to do a video on this, but like, is Josh McDaniels maybe the worst coach ever at evaluating quarterback talent? Because it
John
resurfaced the
Gruden
thing
was
about
much
him.
worse.
Who was worse?
John Gruden.
You think John Gruden's worse than McDaniels?
Oh, dude.
McDaniels
No.
drafted Tim Tebow in the first round.
Let me tell you the
As he
quarterbacks
should.
that John Gruden thought was going
As
to do
he
well at
should
the
have.
NFL level. Johnny Football, Paxton Lynch,
But
Christian
he didn't take
Hackenberg,
those guys.
Nathan
Yeah,
Peterman.
as an analyst.
Yeah.
But he's still bad at assessing quarterback talent.
And they
I would
both were
say
Raiders
his job
coaches.
is-
Bigger
right.
part of the curse.
McDaniels is up there because not only he ran Jay Cutler out of town for
Yeah.
Kyle Orton, right?
Yep.
He
Orton
drafted
wasn't
Tim
bad.
Tebow. Like
And
in the amount
what-
of damage that McDaniels did in the 2 years or whatever 3 total years that he was a coach is unfathomable in terms
And-
of
Got no
franchise
chance.
damage.
Why did Cutler leave? Because he wanted Matt Castle instead of Cutler.
Mm-hmm.
And it just surfaced again, but he nixed the trade for the Raiders to move up to 2 to get CJ Stroud, or the possibility of that trade. He
Yep.
would have moved up to get Bryce Young. But like there's just one more thing because he wanted Jimmy G. It's just
And I'm sure he messed something up when he was the Colts head coach for a day, right? Like he probably was like cut some guys, and then he backed out at the
I
last
was like,
second.
man, that's a lot of whiffs for a dude who won with Tom Brady.
I've been seeing a lot of comments saying that the Packers are one of the most blessed franchises, which is an emphatic lie. What are you guys talking about? They had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. These are generational quarterbacks, and they won a total of 2 Super Bowls. You could argue that the Packers might be cursed. Even if they are getting the talent is not really producing. So I don't see that as a blessing, just that you had a whole bunch of good quarterbacks. Tony Romo was a good cornerback, and he never won a Super Bowl. So for me, I don't even think the Packers. Tom, what's your take on this?
I think that, to your point, I think that there are definitely some tragic moments in Packers history, definitely in the past 30 years as well, even though there have been Super Bowl victories, because we have names for them. It's pretty bad.
Yep.
I do think, though, to be a fan, we're talking about most cursed teams, you could be a Lions fan or a Browns fan, you may have never seen your team even sniff a Super Bowl. I got to, for the majority of my life, watch good football with the expectation that my team is going to the playoffs / could win a Super Bowl for 30 years. So that was pretty dope. Is it heartbreaking when it doesn't happen? Absolutely. But I would take that any day over man, I just hope we're 7-9 this year. And I know that's a very full yourself take, but no, man, I got to watch good football, so I don't think that's a curse.
So it's the hope. It's the hope that keeps you going.
I'm
It
gonna
keeps you
piggyback off that, and I hope I'm not stealing your answer tree or making you feel better because I don't want to. The Steelers are probably the most blessed franchise
since the
because
70s.
yeah, has there ever been a decade where they're irrelevant, right? Like
The 80s. The 80s were pretty irrelevant.
Maybe the 80s, right? But then they recover. They go and make a Super Bowl with Neil O'Donnell. But then ever since then, they're tied, I think, or for the most championships with 6.
No, they got the
Or-
most.
Yeah, they have the
Well-
most. Like, it's hard to argue with that as being, and they've also spread it out over a long period of time. Like, so if you're looking at the totality of the Steelers'
a fair point.
history, you're looking at anybody that has witnessed Steeler football from the beginning has had a very fulfilled life.
It's a legacy
with
of
them.
bullshit.
And they're
man.
still somehow, and they're still somehow getting
and
over
the problem is they're
500.
not even good, and it's like it's a curse because at the end of the day, like you're not good enough to actually do anything, but you're not bad enough to completely clean the system. So it's kind of a mixed blessing in a way.
Talking about most blessed teams, we're leaving out a very important team. In fact, they're the only team that's done this ever, and that's the Miami Dolphins, the only team to go undefeated
That was
in a
whiplash for us.
season.
Yeah, 14-game season against a weaker schedule.
I'm just saying they're still the
How many
only
teams
teams
were in the
Oh,
league
Tree's
who
gonna have a
had
lot
no
of Dolphins
salary
fans.
cap?
who mentioned
Hey,
you know what?
tonight.
Done it.
You know,
Guess
but
what?
come
Been
on.
undefeated.
Those 7
too.
Patriots were a lot better than that 72
True. I
Dolphins.
remember that. That was fun.
Ooh.
I
I would say.
I would-
Go ahead.
Go
Adam.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I could make a career out of pooping on the Dolphins 14-0 season or whatever it is. That's not even like, that's when you start resting your starters now in the NFL. Like, come on. I get it that they did it in that time period and it happened, but 18-1 is almost more impressive than that season. The fact that they did it in a salary cap era, they couldn't have and they had a freaking legendary coach, Don Shula, in a time where if you started the season, you were kind of expected to win that Super Bowl. Yes, they did it, but I'm not going to think that that's like the greatest accomplishment or something. It has become mitigated over time and lessened in my opinion.
I think the Packers are the most blessed franchise for quarterbacks because you got to go back to Bart Starr. I think that
That's
makes
right.
them that. I think Adam's right. I think the Steelers are the most blessed franchise
overall.
and it's even in addition to the Super Bowls, just the fan base that they have because of that sustained success is pretty crazy.
We worldwide, baby. We
Yeah,
worldwide.
and the Patriots have the most blessed, dynasty run or whatever.
Most recent.
Yeah,
Yes.
but their reign was, 20 years. So
Although-
it's long running.
I feel like the Chiefs have
gonna get there.
They're
supplanted
in that
the-
window,
70s and 80s.
but a lot could go wrong very quickly.
That's true.
Yeah, if Mahomes stays on his trajectory, though, remember the Patriots had that initial dynasty, and then they were good, and then they had that second dynasty. I could see Mahomes doing that again. He's that good of a quarterback.
He
which
is, but I don't think
very true.
Andy Reid will be around that long.
Mm.
That
I
would be
mean,
the
he's-
caveat there.
It doesn't
And-
matter because it's just, you still have like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, they might. Well, it's like with Brady's career in Belichick, Belichick was so important to the first part of that dynasty for the Patriots. And then I think Brady carries them through the second half. But the way like Belichick ran that organization, I don't think Tom Brady would have had the same amount of success with any other coach anywhere else. Sure, he went to Tampa. They won a Super Bowl that 2020 season. But like you could see things like getting weird in Tampa or not it's not that championship level. We're going to do everything to win mentality that Belichick made sure the Patriots did every single season. Bruce Arians got out, then like stuff changed. And I think like you can still be very good and Tom Brady would have been very good and the Buccaneers would have been competitive. But like maintaining that edge for so long is insane. And if you want to give the Chiefs credit for something, I think Andy Reid does that in a very different way from Bill Belichick, but has the Chiefs at that level every single season. And no year is really better of like an example of that than last season for Kansas City.
So
Which is why I hope he retires. And I hope Patrick Mahomes retires. And I hope Travis
No, he ain't
Kelce
gonna retire.
if
He
we
ain't gonna
are
retire.
all in consensus
all
with
retire.
the Steelers
No.
being the most blessed franchise, can we come to a consensus on the most cursed franchise?
Again, are we
Bullshit.
answering
Put
that if
that
like
towel
it ended
down.
right now? Like if there was
No,
more
I'll wave it more in front of you, 5. This is what you're going to see in late
You're
October, buddy.
answering as if right now the world
done.
ended. Who was the most cursed franchise ever in the NFL?
Vikings.
Amongst the competition, we have the Bills.
They're up there.
We have the Lions.
You know what though? The Lions, I'd feel like, you know what? At least they won 2 playoff games. World ends, you know, it's not great, but at least you got to like see them go out on a high note. At least
Yeah.
there's something there.
Yeah.
Cardinals are in the mix.
Even Browns. have to be in the mix.
Falcons are in the mix.
I'd probably give it
Cardinals.
to the Browns.
Yeah, same here. I vote for the Browns.
can
Like
vote
I'm
Browns. I
like
could
at
do
least the
Browns
Falcons
too,
have been to
because-
2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
What's the opposite of a dynasty? That's what the Browns are. And that's what the Browns
A
were
Brown.
a long time. The opposite of a dynasty.
A shitasty.
I
think-
a livesty.
With Cleveland too, okay. They're the one team where last year was kind of crazy. They have a good team, but I don't think many people believe Deshaun Watson can take them to the Super Bowl. Maybe they're a playoff team still with Watson. Like, I don't know. That's like a whole weird thing. But the Bills, you feel good about the Bills right now because of Josh Allen. The Lions, we feel good about the Lions because of Dan Campbell and the entire energy that organization carries because they have a lot of talent too. Vikings, they're the most cursed team this season for sure because the 1 week we're like, oh God, JJ McCarthy might be very good. Then, you know, he's
never thought that.
injured, but he'll be back from that. So like the Vikings right now have hope. So like those 3 teams, it feels like they're going to be riding a wave for a little bit here. And Cleveland, I don't know. It like last year would have been their perfect miracle run if Joe Flacco could have taken them to the Super Bowl or whatever. But I don't think a miracle will ever happen for the Browns.
And the Cardinals have more hope than the Browns. I think that's the factor.
That's rough.
Is the hope. Even though they might have the most losses in 55 years, there's just that hope factor. Deshaun's not your quarterback, right? So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Now, we've got the most cursed, most blessed. Is there any other football-related news? We did see that RG3 did get fired from ESPN. Any thoughts on that?
So we was it the croissant that got him fired? What was the actual thing that got him fired?
I don't think there's been any reports anywhere of why he has been fired. But like I told you guys pre-show, I think it was because of the Paul Feinbaum post that he made with the FSU meme. I really do think that is what did it. I think some of the higher ups saw that and were like, this is unacceptable. It was basically I think it's still on his page. If I had to guess, though, that's what I would say.
I was enjoying RG3 like working in weird sexual innuendo into his pregame shows that kept getting clipped around. I was like, I kind of like RG3.
I think, Dane, I think the answer there is the Washington, the Commanders or the football team or the Redskins or whatever you want to call them. Like, I think they're like perfectly 500 in like the last 10 or so years under those 3 names.
At least they were good. Like,
Yeah,
You
they had
guys
a
see that
run.
comment in the private chat right there? If someone can pull up that, I think that is what led to RG3 getting let go.
Let me see. That
If I had to guess. Again, nothing's come out yet.
That is pretty funny, but I don't think that would trigger like it. Really, if you're getting
I'm
viewers
telling
and
you,
you're
man.
keeping people
I don't know,
tuned
man.
in, like
No. Look at what he quote tweeted. It's the quote tweet is what I'm talking about.
I see. Okay. Not really. I don't think that's anything, man. That's just a
Alright.
general meme.
Okay. That, if I had to guess, I'm saying that over the croissant is what I'm
Well,
saying.
it says after FSU comments.
Yeah,
He
so
said he publicly
basically,
defended.
Paul Feinbaum was talking about FSU basically bad mouthing them, and then RG3 came to FSU's defense, saying how they were a good team, how they deserved to be in the playoffs. And then those memes got posted online after.
They got smoked in the
Apparently
playoffs.
it says
didn't
cut
they?
costs, a cost-cutting measure.
Oh, wow. That
I mean,
looks like
that's
Brandon
What I'm seeing
Perna
out here.
on a Tuesday.
Oh,
Uh-huh. All right. Do
When
we
he
have
posted
anything?
That, like everyone on Twitter was like, "That was a mistake." That was,
I got breaking news. Oh,
What?
oh,
What do you got?
Oh, yes, Nicolas Cage to portray
Ah,
is gonna be
John
John
Madden.
Madden.
Oh,
John Madden.
Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
You don't think John Goodman could play John Madden, or Frank Caliendo could play
This
Don't
John
man's
you
about to
Madden?
be looking for a
underestimate
secret
Cage.
treasure map.
Dude, Red
in this
Candy's right. He
Madden
should be Al
documentary.
Davis.
This is not a joke.
That's from
What
Variety.
is
That's tight. It's tight. Dude,
Nicolas
I'm,
Cage?
I'm watching
The
that.
only.
I
Do you
believe.
guys respect? Do you guys like Nicolas Cage as an actor? Because I think the
Oh,
only
hell yeah.
role that he was
Oh my
like
God.
good in
If
was as High in Raising Arizona. Like that's the only role that I
He's-
think.
I feel
or
like he
Bro.
plays the same
lead-
role in
Okay.
every movie.
okay, all
Yeah.
right. Well, we obviously have some people who are not educated on
He's very
Okay,
mid.
all right.
Very
Nicolas
mid.
Cage.
Go-
Okay. First of all, the man
All
has
right.
range. I have not seen it yet,
Range?
but I heard he's very good in long legs. I am looking forward to seeing that. Just
I
seeing
mean,
if there's any good
honestly,
theater.
dude, you want funny? Best humor? Wicker Man. Oh no, not the bees. Not the
Dude.
bees.
What is it? There's like the unbearable weight of massive talent that he did with Pedro Pascal. Like that is an hysterical movie. He's great in Pig. Like if we're just talking about like Renaissance, he's great in the 90s. Face Off is incredible for what it is. Con Air, come on now. Like
The acting in Con Air
Come
is
on.
so bad.
it's
So
a
bad.
Perfect, it's such a good movie.
He plays the same character in every movie.
Come on now.
No,
That's to me.
No, he does
If you
not.
can make money off
Also-
it, that's all that
also,
matters.
this
finding
movie,
ourselves on the
Dream
same
Scenario with Nicolas Cage.
He was
All
in
right,
The
that's good.
Flash.
Awesome.
He's in everyone's dream. Yep.
He's in The Flash.
The Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock.
Come on.
That's good.
Leaving
Stanley
Las
Goods-
Vegas.
know.
Great movie.
That's why I have a Packers
Well,
thing
that's a good
underneath it.
movie. I'll give him that. He was great in that.
He
But
was in
it-
The Flash.
Lord of War is such a great movie. Lord of War is The Weatherman. Oh, come on.
What is
Weatherman.
jujitsu?
Family
Great.
Man.
Yeah, what is that?
Come on.
I didn't even.
Where
come
did,
on.
This man has been in
Gone
every
in
single
60
movie.
seconds. Eleanor. What are we doing out here? Slander.
Adaptation. Amazing. Matchstick Men. Very good film. Where
This
did
man has been in
oh yeah,
1,000
Wild at
movies.
Heart. What he won the Oscar for. Is that David Lynch? I think he's very
Willem
good.
Dafoe was in that. No, I
He just
disagree.
did a bunch of weird movies, a bunch of bad movies for a while.
Yeah, because my man was like buying T-Rex like skeletons in his house, and yeah, like was just saying yes to
You know,
everything.
he went broke.
No, he's
too.
a good. I like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay.
Let us know how
Alright.
Long Legs is. Stop playing.
Dude, he's gonna do
Any-
a great John Madden.
Any videos
Gonna crush
coming
it. Brendan,
out
we'll go
from
together.
you guys?
Yes, I have every college intro explained. The Big Ten, a lot of traditions there that you don't know about. One of them is actually inaccurate in the video game. They made a mistake, but they probably made it before it happened. But you'll have
fair.
to watch to figure that out. But yeah, the pretty good representations in College Football 25 for the introductions, but some of them omit some really good stuff.
All right. I got a Madden video that I just released when Madden 25 came out. If you leave a comment and have clickbait in it, I will respond to it.
Well, I'm making a video on the 2021 quarterback class in the NFL draft. So hoping to have that out tonight or tomorrow.
Arna?
Let's go support Nicolas Cage at this point.
Amen. I put out NFC East predictions today and a whole bunch of videos yesterday. So those are happening.
Yes.
Countdown, even though I lost.
We know who won.
I'm
this
glad
one.
you lost. I'm
Skull
glad. I
cast.
I mean, like, how many times in a row is it now? I just got this punishment done. I have another one
Glad.
now.
I'm glad.
2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 4. How long am I gonna get punished for? Because if we're looking at the board and keeping score, you can tell this ain't even, no equity no more. Actually, that was good rhyming. You know what? I'm solid with that. I was pretty.
You deserve a punishment for that in general.
Thank you.
It's a
I like it.
soliloquy.
I like it. I'll start. I'm at $6. I'm sorry, $11.98.
Ooh.
Yeah,
$11.98.
don't be.
I got $16.99. So
Nice.
there's a 69 in there.
144.90.
Well, I am 149.22. So, Tom.
With $1,000.
883.50.
Ooh.
That's the biggest in a while.
That is the biggest.
You deserve
Oh
a special
my
punch.
God.
Yes.
All of
You
it.
yeah. You've got a podcast for an hour about the Vikings.
Yeah. Full cast. Let's go.
Okay. You know what?
Mhm.
I think that was the main donation was
It
for
was.
that. I'll help
Mhm.
Tom with it.
Okay.
Vikings
So-
Packers week, the Friday, GPS Friday. We'll make it the Skullcast, and Tom's got to hype up the Vikings for it. That
Smart
way,
move.
it's still
That's
painful and a punishment.
That's a good
Time's
Mhm.
already slotted in there. We'll get Nick to make us a special Vikings background.
I hate this so much.
I will be
I
there.
love it, dude. I
There
love
will
it.
be
I'll
more
week is that?
backhanded compliments in that.
What week is that? Let me
Podcast.
mark this down.
Yes. Oh, don't we have football tonight? We've got a little football
You got
tonight.
Eagles,
We got the
Patriots.
Eagles, Patriots.
Oh, that's what I was
on-
gonna say.
Yes.
I'm doing another test stream for YouTube and Patreon members for my Thursday night game recap show. So doing another test run. I'll put the link on the YouTube community tab and
Oh,
in
wait.
Patreon.
Hold on. Hold on. So, oh my God. Like, I recommend that as a punishment for somebody else. Their chat is also saying, like, it doesn't have to be me right now, but the Aaron Rodgers book to read
Yeah.
that and do a book
Oh.
report on that.
Hmm.
That is
definitely
definitely up
save
your
that
alley,
one.
Tom.
Yeah.
It's up your
If-
alley.
That's a good Tom punishment. Future Tom punishment. We'll lock
Oh, why
that in
future
for future
Tom
punishment.
Why
If
future
Jordan
Tom?
spent a lot of
Y'all
money
wanna-
for
Why
the
future Tom?
Skullcast.
Tom don't have to be
Yeah.
future punished.
Yeah.
We
So
don't-
that's the next one. So when you guys donate next week, we'll do that for Tom next week.
I'm not here next week. I'm at Packers training camp. So
Oh, okay.
Ooh, look at you, Mr. Big Shot.
Oh, yeah.
big shot. I
listen
just
to
go every
you.
year.
Yeah.
It's
Are you gonna
my-
have
Okay, well,
another
like-
meeting with the president of the Packers? this
It's
time?
probably
Of
going to be
course.
my last interview with Mark Murphy because he retires next year.
Wow.
Oh no.
End
Yeah.
of an era. End of an era.
Tell
Any
him-
last
tell
words,
him we
final
said hi.
statements, questions, comments, or concerns?
Go Pack, go.
Yes, I love my dog. Mhm.
Skull.
This has been
Skull
another
Vikings.
glorious Clickbait Sports episode. We'll see you next week without Tom, potentially.
Yeah. Very,
Yes.
very sad.
Bye
Very
forever.
sad. I know. He won't have to be